And so today they announced they've bought Fox, which is go on.
21st Century Fox Entertainment.
Yes. So a lot of people know Fox from the Fox News network that they run in the States, but what Disney's actually bought is the entertainment side. So they're not buying any of the news stuff, that they're just focused on entertainment. And also Fox have some interesting holdings worldwide that we're also going to get into in a little bit. And the reason for that is basically Fox has found that its entertainment division isn't quite as profitable. Its news stuff, absolutely fine. Entertainment stuff, it can get rid of. So this stuff it's been rumoured for a couple of months now. I think we first heard about it back in it's either like October or November. There were like rumours that this thing was going to happen, and today they finally confirmed that Disney was making the purchase for $52 billion.
Yeah,
it's a fair old chunk of change.
Yeah, and that's not actually the full amount, because they are also taking on the debts that Fox had too, and so in total it's like $66 billion.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly have some plans going on there, because as much as everyone, the kind of the headline story that people have drawn from this is, now Disney owns all of the Marvel properties apart from Spider-Man, which is still owned by Sony.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $52 billion. Well, I wouldn't pay $1 billion just to be able to make another Fantastic Four movie after how difficult Fox has made it look over the years.
But I think that's the really exciting thing. So we did have somebody asking if Fantastic Four was going to be involved. So Mintu was asking if Fantastic Four was in the deal. So yes, it is. But this is the thing that, like, it feels very definitely like Marvel knows the formula for doing the superhero movies well. And so Sony had been making Spider-Man films that were kind of okay for a long time, and then Marvel were like, could we do a bit of a deal where, like, you're still involved but we're involved, and we put some of our dust on it and see if it works. And then Spider-Man Homecoming came out, which was like best Spider-Man film that we've ever had. Like, obviously we're going to get some Tobey Maguire people being like, but Tobey Maguire, who were wrong. And who were wrong.
We'll have that argument another time.
Who were wrong. And so I'm of the opinion that we haven't had a good Fantastic Four film because they didn't know how to make a good Fantastic Four film. And actually, Marvel just has been, like, quietly stopping talking about Fantastic Four so that everybody just gets bored of it. And now that they have it back, it's going to happen.
So perhaps slightly unfairly, I don't have like that much interest in Fantastic Four. I think basically because there just hasn't been a good Fantastic Four film ever. So there's been nothing that, because I'll admit I'm not really someone that has read the comics and stuff. I kind of have gotten interested in superheroes through the cinema stuff. So I'm definitely part of that, like, mainstream.
Whereas I am like old school hardcore nerd who's like had hundreds and hundreds. Like, I had moving crates full of comic books, and so for me, every time a Fantastic Four film came out, I was like, this is gonna be the one, and it hasn't been. And like the last one, I was there going, Toby Kebbell, who is a fantastic actor, is Doom, and I was like, okay, they've gone young for everybody, but like Miles was in there, Jamie Bell was in there, like lots of good cast, and I was like, they're rebooting the franchise, maybe it's gonna be good, and it wasn't. And you just go, they're some of the best comic books that have ever existed. Why are people incapable of making a decent film out of them? But maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time. I mean, I'm excited to see whether Chris Evans will reprise his role as the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four movies that were made just over a decade ago, and like play two characters within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
But also Josh Brolin, who is Cable in Deadpool, which is also a Fox-owned thing, which is also getting absorbed, is also Thanos. So is it going to be Cable Thanos, or are they going to recast, or like are they even going to come together? Like all of the X-Men films, all the Deadpool films, all of those things that have been Fox now become Marvel again. So how's that going to work?
Like Fantastic Four thankfully isn't that complicated, because they've just kind of made these like one-off movies that haven't been that great, but they haven't kind of laid in the groundwork for like a big shared universe or anything. Like the X-Men stuff, because they've been building up their like X-Men franchise over the past few years. They've had this thing that's kind of run continuously since the first X-Men film in the late 90s, or it's like 2001, I think. And they've kind of like they've worked really hard to make that consistent, and now you have the new generation of X-Men actors, and they've kind of worked really well to like tie those all together. So like, are they gonna just leave all of that behind and now just have the new era of X-Men where they just recast everyone and like recast them with the Marvel Cinematic Universe versions of those characters? That's, I think, a really interesting question about where they might approach it. The other bigger issue I have is that the idea of mutants existing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think, barely works in the comics. You know, like you have these comics where like every single time a new superhero emerges, you kind of go, "Oh, this is incredible. We have Thor here, and oh look, there's the Incredible Hulk, and he's this scientific anomaly." But in a world where mutants exist and like have existed for a few decades and are a constant part of the political discussion in the United States, then at a point of like having other superheroes that also exist, it just wouldn't be surprising. You just go like, oh cool, we have like the human spider, so he must just be a mutant, right? Oh, we got bitten by a spider. Oh, okay, well he just has very similar powers to all these mutants that are around, so I guess he's just not that big of a deal now.
Yeah, well, I like, kind of interestingly, they made Civil War before that could happen, but like in the comic books, the Civil War storyline is actually just about all of the superpowered people, and so the I can't remember what they're called, but there's like a new generation, and there's the mutants, and then there's all the superpowered individuals and all of this, and so it's just this massive thing where they're like, we should actually just regulate you guys because it's really dangerous having people that are weapons walking around, and we should regulate that. And it became a civil war between the two factions of all the superpowered people. But in the films, they were like, there are only 7 of them, so you can't have this like all-out civil war. Yeah. And so they just completely rewrote what Civil War was going to be, and it still turned out decent.
Yeah,
but like,
I like Civil War.
But yeah, it's interesting.
It's super strange.
It is super strange.
I mean, some other like implications of the Disney deal. I don't know if we have any interesting comments or questions.
Lots of people. Troll guy. Hey, Troll Guy, who's just saying, Iron Man is my favourite, Iron Man is my favourite smiley face, and then Iron Man is my favourite no smiley face. So somewhere in there, he was like, no, I really like... No, I just like him.
He's fine. Tell Iron Man hello.
Yeah, if you see him, tell him I think he's good.
Can just continue as is. Just...
Yeah. We've got lots of chat, and so lots of people that are kind of joining in with us. So yeah, thanks for joining in. So lots of Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and X-Men, I hope, which we've covered.
Agreed.
And then, X-Men and the Marvel games and films. And so there is a possibility. Like, obviously, it is super early days, but there is, of course, the possibility that now that they own it, that there could be crossover. So, yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, it's all to play for. But then interesting other things that Disney's bought as part of this deal. Fox owns a certain portion of Sky in the UK, Sky Broadcasting. So potentially that might mean we'll have like some sort of like Marvel Sky crossover stuff. I mean, like, I'm not going to say that like Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon from The Trip are going to start appearing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Season 3 of Westworld's weird.
That would be fun. And then also parts of Star TV, which is active across a lot of Asia.
Yeah.
But again, I imagine that will just kind of help Star TV get more like Disney movies and stuff in its catalogs.
But also, interesting is Hulu. And so Disney have already said that they are going to be bringing a direct-to-customer service, and so now own Hulu.
Yep.
And so will clearly be building on the foundation of that, and whether or not that's going to mean that there's going to be a Hulu, Disney, Marvel service, or whether that means there's going to be different ones and they're just going to like cherry pick some of the technology from that to go into that, or how that's going to work. But yeah, certainly interesting acquisition.
Yes, definitely. Fun thing I just want to mention is that this means that Disney now owns the back catalogue for Buffy and Firefly and all of those Joss Whedon things. Also owns the entire back catalogue of The Simpsons, which I have my fingers crossed, because at the moment in the States there's the Simpsons streaming app, which you can't get in the UK, and B, in the States you kind of have to have a cable subscription and stuff. It's not a simple process to get access to this streaming app, because The Simpsons, it's not on Netflix, not on Amazon Prime. And so I really hope that this deal means that the international weight of Disney will mean that finally the UK can get that Simpsons streaming app. And so, because I wouldn't pay as much of it as a Netflix subscription, but I would pay like a few pounds a month just to be able to watch any Simpsons I want at any time.
Yeah,
because I do.
Because you do.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Cool.
So,
topic number 2.
Topic number 2. Let's.
So, someone was asking earlier in the chat, PUBG, What in sweet Jesus is PUBG? So PUBG is it's short for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and it's a game that's kind of taken the PC gaming world by storm this year. It launched in early access back in March, and it's not finished yet. It's reaching version 1.0 later on December 20th. But it's the kind of game where they're going to be constantly developing it and bringing out new features and that sort of thing. And it's basically a multiplayer game where 100 people parachute into a big island with absolutely nothing, and you then have to loot for weapons, scavenge for stuff, and then murder each other.
So just to be clear, it is an up until this point mostly unfinished game with no plot, with one level. This doing quite well.
Yes, it's because it's very good. It's I think the joy of it is that the map is so big that you never know when you're gonna encounter another player. So whereas when you're playing something like Overwatch, you more or less know that as soon as you walk out of your spawn room, you're gonna come across the enemy, and so the game kind of turns into you just like throwing yourself again and again and again against the enemies, and you're constantly like respawning and this sort of thing, so you don't have to be too precious with your own life, really. Battlegrounds,
which is nice.
Yeah, Battlegrounds or PUBG, once you die in a match, you're just out. So like this match could go on like 20 minutes, and then just like you get sniped from across a field, and you're just gone. So you have to play slightly conservatively.
Yeah.
But you also have to kind of like balance this need to like run around and find good gear with the risk that you're just going to like open doors sometimes, and there's just going to be a guy waiting for you in that bathroom with a sawn-off shotgun pointed at your head. And I think it makes it super fun. And so there's that kind of just like insane amount of dynamism there, and like emergent little stories that constantly crop up. And it's the kind of things that in another game they'd write a specific scenario where like this little like event takes place, and you find that stuff just like crops up like throughout the course of a PUBG match. So there was one where me and a couple of squad mates, we were in a van kind of like just pelting it across the open field, and we saw another group of players doing exactly the same thing, so we were like, right, we're going to follow them. So we're all sort of like leaning out of the windows of the van, like shooting at these guys. They kind of like barrel through like a little village streets and stuff, and they're like kind of turning around the corner. Eventually they ditch their vehicle, and we turn a corner, and they're just like there kind of like waiting, like taking cover behind their vehicle, shooting at us. And it's just I think it's absolutely amazing. The reason we're talking about it this week, because I realise we haven't actually mentioned that yet, is that it's finally been released on Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X. I think it's fair to say opinion has been divided. I don't think it's very good. Personally, I don't think they've really found a nice balance between taking what makes the PC version work and then making the kind of compromises you need to make it work with a gamepad.
So on PC, there are lots and lots and lots of controls that take up a vast amount of the keyboard, right? And so you get a controller that has a quarter of the amount of buttons, and they haven't really done any like changes in order to
They've worked hard. They've found some creative solutions, but ultimately they've ended up in a situation where every single button on the gamepad does at least two things, and in some instances more. You press the X button to interact with stuff, or you hold it to reload. You press Y to cycle through weapons, or you hold it to like unequip your weapons entirely. Even like the menu button, you press it to like look at your inventory, or you hold it to go into the kind of the main menu and change settings and stuff. So it's just too much. You need to take out some stuff, you know?
And like when you watch people playing PUBG on a PC, like there are times when it looks like they're playing the piano. The amount of different keys that you have to press, they're like, oh, I'm like, just do the directions in the shooty, no? But it's like, because there's so many like inventories where you're like, okay, so I picked up that gun, and I have to move that thing to that place, blah, 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 blah. And it all happens so quickly, you can't pause it because you're constantly, it's an online game. And so people are just like, making it happen like they're in the movie Hackers and then Angelina Jolie. And actually, it's like not suited to being in like okay, so now I'm holding down the menu button, and you're gone.
It's weird, and it kind of means that like matches play out like completely differently to how they would on the PCs. Whereas on the PC you got this mouse that you can use to like look behind you at like a moment's notice and stuff. So people are constantly like as you're like running across open field. That just like doesn't happen on a console. So at one point I was playing, I saw this guy like pelt out of a building. And like in the PC version, he would have seen me immediately because as you walk out of a building, you like take a quick look, like right and left, like you're crossing a road. Always look before crossing the road, kids.
Always look.
But because he's playing the console, he just like ran out. He's like, right, I'm going in that direction, so my camera's pointing in that direction. So anything around me, I'm not gonna see.
Yeah.
I was of course around him, and so he didn't see me. So I like chased him across this field with him like not noticing me. Eventually, he like ran into a building, so I threw a grenade in and murdered him.
This is horrible, John.
It's just. Yeah, so it plays differently. Sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. This is really quite terrible.
It's okay, you're just salivating because you love PUBG so much. We have got a question from the British Unknown. Hello, the British Unknown. Who has asked if it's going to come to the PS4.
I believe the developer has said that they are interested in bringing it to as many platforms as possible, which I think is a slightly cryptic way of saying Microsoft has paid us a lot of money to keep this thing exclusive for the time being. This is me inferring entirely. They have not confirmed this, but we've seen this with a lot of other like high-profile Xbox exclusives this generation. So Square Enix made Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was like marketed as a big Xbox One exclusive, and everyone kind of kept quiet about whether it would come to PS4. And then, lo and behold, 6 months later, little PS4 announcement snuck out and stuff. So my feeling at the moment is that we might see the same thing. Whether you would want to play it on a console at this point, and so we kind of spoken about the problems with the controls. Performance-wise, it is tricky. So the fine folks over at Digital Foundry have put out a fantastic video just analysing the performance of the game. This thing, it has an unlocked frame rate on PC. On console, it's supposedly locked at 30, which isn't ideal anyway, but, you know, whatever. If you can hit 30, you can hit 30. And, like, it's going down as low as, like, 4 frames a second. And, you know, a lot of the time you'll just be in, like the inside of buildings, generally because you're rendering less, you would hope the frame rate would be slightly higher. But if anything, they've kind of found that the frame rate is like worse inside buildings where it's kind of hovering around like 20 frames per second, and it's early access. We have to say it's early access. No one is allowed to review this thing at the moment. It's early access. It's not finished, but they're still charging 25 quid for it. And whilst I think they're charging 25 quid for it on PC, where on PC, I think, you know, your tolerance for like stuff being finished is maybe slightly lower because the PC is like the tweaking platform. You tweak things, and you kind of, you know, that occasionally you're going to have to do some troubleshooting. I think on consoles, the expectation is that the baseline there is like when they say it's early access, I think most people with a console will kind of go, okay, well, it's not feature complete, but it's, you know, playable. And whilst it is playable, I think that the performance issues are substantial at the moment. So I would maybe hold off for the time being. But we're not allowed to review it, so that's not an objective. Like, it will always be this way. It will change. It will put out more updates and stuff. This is just my kind of subjective experience at the moment.
Cool. So that is now you done your section.
Fabulous.
So awesome. Thank you very much.
No questions about PUBG.
No questions about PUBG. So I was going to say that we've got lots and lots of people chatting, which is amazing. And thank you so much for getting involved and having a chat. But everyone's just kind of chatting with each other, which is really nice. I love it. But it means that they're not really asking us any questions.
No. I mean that's completely fine. So, cool. All right. Well, that's been me. Thank you so much for indulging me and letting me talk about my favourite game of the year.
It's all good.
But I'm going to bow out now.
Yeah. Cool. It's been lovely having you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Cool. See you.
Cool. And so now Basil is going to join us, and John has just headbutted the light. So if I just changed how I looked, that is exactly why, because John headbutted the light on his way out. And
hey guys,
Basil.
I am Basil. I'm not John.
Not John.
No, not at all.
Not John at all. So hi Basil.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Happy
Wicked.
to be using this.
What's this?
This is the Surface Book 2 13.5-inch edition.
Okay, tell me more about it.
It's very, very nice, shiny, powerful, incredibly well designed, and expensive.
Cool.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's been reviewed by our very own Matt Hansen, who is an absolute legend of a reviewer. You can check out his review. It's so comprehensive. That's on techradar.com. Do you know what? I should, because I'm actually managing this live feed on the Surface Book 2. That's how wonderful it is. I'm going to throw his review into the live stream, so anyone who's in the live chat can read it now.
Awesome.
Yes,
there we go.
But if you don't want to read and you want to watch, keep watching. So the whole thing about Surface Books, for anyone who doesn't know, is that you can press a button and then this wonderful release thing happens, and it's telling me now actually I'm using the graphics card that is inside the like keyboard portion. You've got Photoshop open, so I don't want to let you release the tablet portion, which has a brains, because there is a graphics card, NVIDIA 1050 GPU in here, and inside the body is just the Intel integrated graphics. So it's telling me to close Photoshop, which I will do now. But that's really smart in that it's unifying the power from some extra space the keyboard provides, and it also provides some battery as well. An amazing battery. Like, this thing lasts 17 hours.
Right.
Like, so that's like class leading battery for something like this. And the laptop, the tablet portion has a 4-hour battery life. So I'm going to close Photoshop.
So you close Photoshop.
Yeah. Alt F4 for closing everything. Alt F4 function, F4, Alt F4.
The British Unknown's asking what the screen resolution is on it.
The screen resolution is 265 pixels per inch at 13.5 inches. There you go. So I closed Photoshop, it detached, and the secure attaching mechanism is so strong. It feels just like a laptop when it's together, and it's very easy to take apart. Its aspect ratio, as you can see, is a little bit taller, so it's really great for document editing. So yeah, the specific number of the aspect ratio is 20. Let me see. I can't remember the numbers, but like I said, it's 260 pixels per inch. So it's about as sharp as you're going to get. It gets very nice and bright as well. And the screen quality, whether you're touching it like I am now, or indeed whether you're using pen input or trackpad input, is really solid. So let me pull up the aspect ratio.
Is it using full Windows, or is it Windows 10s?
Full Windows 10. This, like I said, this is expensive, so you can pretty much expect this to be the most feature-packed from a software point of view and hardware point of view Windows and Surface device around.
Cool. If anybody has any questions for Basil about the Surface Book 2, or about anything really, if you want to just ask Basil a question, shoot them into... we have got a question coming in from Troll Guy saying, is Surface Pro 4 better?
No.
Okay, why?
Categorically no. So the thing about Surface Pro 4 is it is great. From a hardware point of view, this has the latest Intel 8th generation processor, so it's super fast. The GPU that's in the body also, like I said, couples with that extra battery life. The versatility of Surface, which was always advantageous, was you had the Surface kickstand, so it operated really nicely as a tablet if you wanted to draw on it, etc. But what's really nice about this is I press the detach function. You can also attach it in reverse. Let's see if I can do this up in the sky. There you go. And then you can flip it down around the back, and so I can draw on it like that. The screen on here.
So when you've got it plugged in that way around, you're benefiting from the graphics card and everything, but you've got it facing.
But you've got it flipped around.
Okay.
And what's also really good about this, the screen has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity. So that's the same kind of screen pressure sensitivity as the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen the speed sketching video that we've done on the Note 8, you can see you can achieve some amazing results. Autodesk Sketchbook Pro on here. Stop. And also it works with the Surface style. Now the Surface 4 is a fantastic bit of kit, but having the versatility of the laptop form factor and the typing experience on this, I think it's 1.4 millimeters of travel on the keyboard, paired with that kind of more tablet functionality, just really does edge ahead of anything that is bespoke tablet and laptop type second. This feels like it bridges not just the gap between tablet and laptop, but also with the power under the hood, it bridges the gap between tablet, laptop, and desktop.
Oh, really?
Really. It's got an SD card slot reader, and so it's perfect for on-the-fly video editing. And I've edited video on here, and you can. And that's very good.
That is very good.
And it is unsurprising, because if I was to ask you, because Andrew has not been briefed on this product at all.
No.
He doesn't know how much this costs.
I don't know if it shows.
If I was to ask you how much does this cost, do you want me to read you the configuration of this model first?
Yep.
Okay. It has 1 terabyte of solid state storage.
Okay.
It has an 8th generation Core i7 processor.
Yep.
It has NVIDIA 1050 graphics card.
Yep.
And 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Are we talking just less than $2,000?
Anyone in the comments? No? Anyone in the live chat want to throw
any guesses?
Anything?
I mean, they could just be Googling it now.
They could. You've got 5. You've got 4. You've got 3. You've got 2. and you've got one, and you're a grand off.
What?
It's £2,999.
Is it?
It doesn't include the pen as well. So this
Okay.
is a very expensive bit of kit.
Seriously expensive.
It is. I mean, I would never buy one.
The British Unknown has guessed.
British Unknown
$3,000.
guessed 300.
I-
You get an enthusiastic Ali G type snap from me.
I mean, I do think that the guess took long enough that
He did probably
he
Google it.
could possibly have Googled it.
But that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And it also supports a suite of accessories. So it doesn't come with a pen. You have to buy the pen separately. It doesn't come with the Surface Style. You have to buy that separately. So if you're investing in this system, you're going to spend, between getting a case for it and everything, probably like £3,250 or in the region.
But if you are somebody that does graphic design or video editing
Yeah.
or those sorts of careers where you could benefit from having a suite where you can actually do all of these things on the go
Yeah.
and it be actually as good as doing it on a desktop, that's a worthwhile investment.
It is, and it is. It absolutely is. If you are going to be able to accrue the investment
Yeah.
eventually. Now, the thing about the Surface Book 2, by comparison to the MacBook Pro, the latest version of Creative Suite, Adobe's suite of applications, supports touchscreen input. So if you're using InDesign, you can draw a box to create a text box, and or a picture box. You can draw a box and draw horizontal lines to create a text box so you can then fill in. So when you're doing stuff like wireframes, if you get to grips with it, it's going to be really intuitive, and that's something you absolutely can't do on a MacBook.
Yeah.
So that's great, and for you this is definitely the way to go, though you will be able to, and you can get much cheaper, relatively similarly powerful Windows devices from other manufacturers. So it's an expensive premium product that absolutely meets a need. But do you need to spend this much? That's the question only you can answer. I realised how I'm mirroring your body language.
Oh, yeah,
There is
nice.
so much respect here.
Good times.
Any questions?
So we have got a question which has got some obscene language, which I'm not massively happy about, but they are asking about the giveaway.
The giveaway. So
when it's going to be announced.
The giveaway was announced it wasn't actually announced, but we completed the giveaway last week. That's for the Honor 7X. We also are running throughout December a weekly photography competition. If you Google the hashtag #MaxYourCity, then Tech Radar's article should be the first to pop up, and you will be able to see how you can win one by flexing your photography muscles. Like I said, every week of December, so 4 to give away.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, we just had somebody saying that we do giveaways, but we don't actually do the giveaways for publicity.
Oh.
Which isn't true.
They've been
So-
the giveaway's been given away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And so, have we got any others? And so, British Unknown was claiming that it was the delay of his stream, and that's why his response took a long time.
So the British Unknown, I'm giving away his secret identity. His real name is Finley.
No, you can't. You can't dox him.
And he has been like very knowledgeable about other things, and
He's wonderful.
He is. So I'm
Although
gonna.
he does prefer to be an Apache attack helicopter than he. That's his
Okay.
preferred gender.
There you go.
So that's him.
Make of that what you will.
And so I'm just seeing if we've got any other questions that are to do with the Surface Pro.
If
We've
we
got
don't-
the familiar Windows 10 sound, which we
Yeah.
heard, which is nice.
We do.
But yeah, that's kind of that.
In that case, would you like me to quickly, in a massively big nutshell,
Yeah.
wrap up my review of this?
Yeah, and then we're
Good
done
to go.
for the day.
Okay, so kicking off, design of this thing is beautiful. The hinge is very solid. It is improved in terms of wobble over its predecessor, though if it is on a surface and you come to open it, you can't. You have to, it's kind of magnetized, so you have to both hand kind of awkwardly, and that's the like day-to-day kind of biggest issue I have with it. Everything else is pretty much perfect. Ports are much improved as well. 2 USB 3 ports, the SD card slot is just power. You've also got a USB-C on the right-hand side as well. Still a proprietary power port. You've got 2 cameras. On the front, you've got a 5 megapixel camera. On the back, you've got an 8 megapixel camera. And it's very rare you get a laptop or anything like this which has relatively decent imaging, so this is the one it really does. On top of that, Windows 10 full version, you know what to expect. Microsoft's constantly updating Windows to take advantage of that pen with creator updates, etc., and it's really solid. Like it's I'd say there was a time I just would never have considered Windows. for video editing and creative work over Mac OS, and it seems to have kind of hit pretty much parity there.
Yeah.
Also, the keyboard typing experience is so nice. It's really loud. And if you like a satisfyingly loud click and really enjoy annoying everybody in your office, this
or
is
coffee shop or train or wherever you're working.
Anywhere.
If you just want people to hate you.
Yeah. But you will type like a beep. It's just really, it's that good. So you've got a decent amount of travel. The body feels a tiny bit hollow. I'm not going to lie. It is crafted from single piece of metal, so it is good, but feels a teeny tiny bit hollow. But that means that it also isn't too heavy. You're not weighting around a single block of metal. So with the user interface getting massive thumbs up, performance getting a huge thumbs up, you can play Steam games on here. It's also, so the 13-inch module has Bluetooth, but the 15-inch module, which is coming down the line and will be more expensive, is going to have a dedicated Xbox controller module, so it'll be able to wirelessly connect without Bluetooth. With what that means, whether it means decreased latency, which I can't imagine Bluetooth will have too much of anyway, or what, but it's just going to have that, so it's a real focus on gaming. And what's nice as well, the 15-inch model will be a bigger screen size, and it's also going to have the same pixels per inch. They haven't just gone and increased the size without changing the resolution up. It's going to have around 260 pixels per inch as well, which for a laptop tablet is way more than enough. Contrast ratios of the display are beautiful. Buttons up top, which I've just accidentally pressed. You've got hello, Windows hello, so it unlocked by looking at my face, and that's very nice and reliable. Battery, amazing. I really like it, and I'm going to be giving it back in a week and a bit.
And you're going to have a little single tier.
I'm going to have more than a single tier, but having said that, I will also very confidently know that I personally won't be buying one because it is just above my budget. So, but I will hopefully be able to have helped people. We'll be recording the full review on... God, that should be going live either end of December or beginning of January, so stay tuned for the video review. But if there's anything that you want us to specifically test in the video review, fire it into the comments of this video once it goes live and stays live, and we will do our best to answer.
We've got a question from Parmod Kumar asking if it's the right laptop to use for mining. So I don't know if laptops would be particularly good for cryptocurrency mining because you need to have massive amounts of GPU. And so like we do have an amazing guide on the site for the best GPUs and the best motherboards to use for mining. So absolutely check those out. But yeah.
But as far, unless it's a gaming laptop that you want, which will have a better GPU. This in terms, so you'll want to look at the, for laptops, something like the Asus Zephyrus, which we've also got a video review of because that has the new NVIDIA processors that are just that bit smaller but have Max-Q desktop power. But yeah, this, I mean, portability, best tablet for mining in the sense that you can then dock it in to improve over the Intel integrated HD graphics and integrate a 1050 NVIDIA GPU.
Yeah, cool. Well, that is all we've got for today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Really appreciated. And like I said, any questions, fire them into the comments of this video and subscribe to TechRadar. That's how you will stay on top of everything we do and get notifications every time we come to do a live show. Bye.
Bye-bye.